Much I wish for.
Got everything on your phone. What is it? Yeah, I'm not talking. I do too. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Transportation Planning Organization meeting today of March 21st. And before we have the call to order, I want to welcome a new member of Roanoke County, Ms. Amy White. Thank you, sir.
Hi, thank you.
And look forward to your attending all of our fun meetings going forward.
Can't wait. Love a meeting.
Anyhow, let's go ahead and read a special note from Mr. Stephen Valley-Alleghany representing Montgomery County. He has requested to participate remotely in today's meeting of the Roanoke Valley TPO under the RVTPO's policy for electronic meeting participation, which allows for remote participation for emergency, personal, or medical matters, and a physical quorum is present. Unless there is an objection, we will consider the request approved by unanimous consent. I don't hear any objections, so it stands approved. At this time, we'll go ahead and call the roll.
Check. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Clinton. We make it. Ms. White. Mr. Are you on?
I couldn't. Did you call my name? Vigilkowski?
Yes.
Here.
Chair North.
Here.
Mr. Radford.
Here.
Mr. Paulson. Here. Ms. McReynolds. Mayor Turk.
Here.
Mr. Holliday. Mr. Lyles. Mr. Stovall.
Here.
Mr. Price. Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Huber. You have getting on now.
Here.
And Mr. Ford is taking for Mr. King. So,
Okay, thank you. Item 3 of our agenda today is approval of consent agenda items. Item A, approval of the agenda. Item B, action on February 22nd, 2024 RVTPO minutes found on pages 3 through 31. With that said, do I have approval of the consent agenda by voice vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Chairman's remarks. We received notice from the offices of Senators Kane and Warner and from Congressman Morgan Griffin's office that the application period for congressionally directed spending programs either are or soon will be open. Short for that is CDS programs. During a recent visit with Congressman Griffin's office organized by the Virginia Association of Planning District Commissions, Congressman Griffith chaired transportation along with water infrastructure are his project priorities for funding in the 9th District. And I might add, I've just finished meeting with Senator Kane's Chief of Staff earlier today, and we were talking about these CDS programs. And the ideal number is somewhere between 1 and 2 million for your request. So if you got anything like that, you might keep that in mind. And the deadline, I think, is next week on April 4th. With that said, we've received word also from Senator Warner's office that the deadline is for him or Senator Kane has been set for April 5th. And I was told earlier, get them in on the 4th. I don't know why I said that. Just to be safe, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
If your locality is interested in applying for CDS funding for a transportation project and need assistance, please reach out to the TPO staff and they will be happy to help. Is that right, Tori?
Absolutely.
There you go. As many of you know, the state budget, which was adopted on March 9th, included $70 million in general fund revenue for the I-81 corridor between mile marker 116 and 128 in Montgomery County. That's, I think, the southbound portion. The budget conference also included language that would earmark and transfer up to 175 million from the general fund surpluses between FY 24 and FY 26 for the 81 corridor improvements. Of course, this funding is contingent on the performance of state revenue collections. In addition, legislators could always amend or remove the language at a future session. This past Monday, March 25th, Jeremy Holmes, Tori Williams, and myself met with the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Commission, known as JLARC, by Zoom to provide feedback on their study of additional opportunity to raise revenue for planned congestion related to improvements to I-81. Delegate Austin initiated this analysis in 2023, and JLARC is working with stakeholders along the corridor to explore this topic. We discussed concerns over the long-term sustainability of motor fuels taxes, the feasibility of future tolls, and public-private P3 contracts, if you will, future freight volume projections for the corridor, the cost benefits of adding 3 lanes to the entire corridor, and the current list of priority improvements through 2033. The report is scheduled to be completed by the end of this year before the next session of the General Assembly. So there you go. Moving on to item number 5, update on road safety trends. We have a guest speaker.
Yes.
Rich Jacobs joined Drive Smart Virginia in May of 2015 as their public relations manager. Rich is Drive Smart Virginia's primary contact for the public and the media. As outreach manager, he travels to events around the state in support of our programs. Before joining Drive Smart Virginia, Rich was news director for a group of 5 radio stations in Richmond. He has received awards from NASA, Richmond Fire and EMS, the Navy League, and has won 3 awards from the Virginia Association of Broadcasters. Rich served in the United States Coast Guard. Welcome, Rich.
Hey, how are y'all doing? Can you hear me? Good. All right. I was asked to just do about a 10-minute talk about the current traffic safety trends in Virginia, some of which are a little disturbing. I'm going to switch to share my screen here. There we go. All right. Post-COVID, a lot of things have changed in the country. In Virginia also, we're following some of the same trends that are happening nationally. Virginia is reflecting those. The top reasons people are dying on Virginia roads, VDOT statistics, DMV statistics, and Virginia State Police statistics all point to speeding, intoxicated driving, impaired driving, that includes drugs, distraction, and not wearing a safety belt. And I'll tell you right now, the new numbers coming out for safety belt use in Virginia are the worst in the contiguous United States. We have the worst seatbelt use rate in the country, period. And that's absolutely horrible. Rural areas are largely, it's male drivers from like 16 years old up to about 35 to 40 years old, rural and pickup truck drivers, if you really want to narrow down the demographic. Those are the folks who just don't want to buckle up for some reason. And it's a really tough nut to crack, and it's getting worse. We were doing better until 2020, and then the wheels seemed to come off. So let's see. Here are the overall numbers from 2019 through 2023. These are the approved, finished, finalized numbers. 2024's numbers are not official yet, so I can't share those. But you'll see in 2019, we had 827 fatalities and less than 128,000 crashes. 2020, COVID kicks in. Vehicle miles traveled went down. What does that mean? Fewer cars on the road. crashes went down. That's to be expected. That's normal. Fewer vehicle miles traveled, fewer crashes, but we had more fatalities. How does that work? Well, it's because the crashes that did occur were less survivable. They involved speed, not buckling up, the four things that I just showed you. And super speeders showed up on the road. Less traffic, they decided they could speed. Fewer police officers around, maybe, who knows? But, and that hasn't stopped. Virginia State Police are still posting tickets just about every week showing speeders doing over 100 in a 55 or 65 mile an hour zone. That's just inexcusable. So these are all trends that are affecting Virginia's traffic fatality and injury rates. You'll see that in 2023, we were still well over 900. We topped out at 1,005 traffic crashes in 2022. That's the first time we've had more than 1,000 traffic fatalities in more than 15 years. So Virginia, folks, is going backwards, traffic safety wise. We're going backwards. Distraction, I'll tell you that the numbers I just put up on the screen are wrong. Distraction is underreported. Distraction is underenforced. These are the numbers that are recorded when there's a crash and the investigating officer, the officer on the scene, is filling out the crash report and knows for a fact that distraction was involved. I doubt many people who have caused a crash stumble out of the smoking wreckage, hold their phone aloft and say, "My bad, I was distracted." So it's underreported. It's not as easy to prove as DUI. DUI, it's pretty obvious. They smell like alcohol. That gives you something to go on. But with distraction, it's really tough. But we are seeing some improvement in the numbers, but I don't believe that's actually showing up on the streets. I'll tell you why in a minute. Alcohol-related crashes remain a stubborn problem. We made significant headway for 3 decades with drunk driving. Now it's coming back with all these other bad habits. 2020, it went up. The fatality rate went up. Again, the crash rate went down, but the fatality rate went up for alcohol-related crashes. That tells you that the crashes were less survivable. 21 to 47, which was back below 2019, back to 2019 number, but we're going back up again. We're up to 293 in 2023. So still heading in the wrong direction. Unrestrained persons involved in crashes. These are basically fatalities where the person who died was not buckled up. If you are ejected from a vehicle in a crash, there's a 75% chance that you will die, and not including all the other horrible things that will probably happen. 399 unrestrained fatalities in 2023. All of the numbers that I'm seeing are well above pre-COVID numbers. And COVID really is the line here. It's when we took cars off the road, when traffic volume went down significantly, that's when these problems began to get worse. And we began heading backwards in traffic safety in Virginia. Speed-related crashes. 349 in 2019, and we've been in the 400s, almost 100, actually exactly 100 more fatalities due to speeding than in 2019. So that's 100 more deaths in 2023 because of speed. During 2020, driving patterns and behaviors in the United States changed. We're not sure exactly all the reasons, but we've got a pretty good idea of some of them. Of the drivers who remained on the road, some engaged in riskier behavior, speeding, not buckling up, driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And these issues remain a problem. 2021 changes to Virginia laws concerning law enforcement and how they are allowed to stop vehicles. And these are laws that are on the books, but law enforcement officers are no longer allowed to stop a vehicle for defective equipment, dangling objects, blocking the front windshield, dark window tints. I see cars all the time now in Virginia where I can't see anything inside the car. And I guarantee you, for a law enforcement officer walking up to that vehicle has got to be nerve-wracking. Expired registration or inspection, there's about a 4-month window after it expires where law enforcement cannot stop someone for that. Traffic stops, I don't think it's a secret that traffic stops are law enforcement's primary tool for checking on a driver to see if they're impaired or have committed some other crime. You stop them for one reason, you get a sniff in the window, you see if the driver is impaired or if there's some other issue. A lot of those tools have been taken away from law enforcement. Whether the reasoning was good or bad is irrelevant. The tools that officers have traditionally used for taking dangerous drivers off the roads, a lot of them have simply been taken away. So that's part of the problem. And we have to watch traffic statistics, because a lot of those statistics will show improvement where it's really not an improvement on the streets. It's an improvement in the numbers because the enforcement has gone down because there are fewer traffic stops. So we got to keep that in mind as we look at the numbers going forward. In just 24 months, traffic fatalities in Virginia increased 17%. In 2 years, 17%. Virginia DMV figures show traffic fatalities increased from 827 to 968, and we haven't successfully stopped that trend. The numbers, we're going to have to get a few more years of numbers to see if we're making any progress. Fatality and injury numbers have not returned to pre-COVID levels, and they don't show any signs of getting back to pre-COVID numbers in several of the, especially impaired driving and speeding, and not buckling up just makes things worse. We need your help to improve these statistics. April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. So we address different problems in different ways. For distracted driving, we set aside an entire month. Drive Smart Virginia has a distracted driving program called Buckle Up, Phone Down. It's kind of hitting two birds with one stone. Buckle up, put the phone down. Those are two of the big problems right now, the distraction, and most of the distraction, let's face it, is the cell phone, because it's the worst kind. It involves visual, manual, and cognitive distraction. Whereas, you can tune a radio sometimes without looking at it, but cell phones are different. For April, we ask that you visit our toolkit page. It has all kinds of downloadable brochures and information and tips and social media posts that you can use to spread the word. And we also have an online store where you can actually order brochures, posters, print materials that we will ship to you free. It's free. The shipping's free. Couldn't be any easier if I stuck it in the trunk of my car and drove it to you. And coming up in August, this will be the 11th annual Distracted Driving Summit. If you've been to one, great, you're familiar with it. If you are not, I encourage you to look into it and find out more about it. Last time was at Virginia Tech. It was very successful. We had a large law enforcement track, and this year we'll be adding a first responder and EMS track to the Distracted Driving Summit. So a lot of that coming up, trying to push these statistics back in the right direction. My contact information is on the next page. This is our website, drivesmartva.org. And from there, you can navigate to the store or any of the other pages and look at our other projects. And this is my contact information. If you have any questions, suggestions, or need help with anything traffic safety related, give me a call, send me an email, get in touch. I'll be happy to help you. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Rich. Anyone got any questions, Rich?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would like to speak.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want to thank you, Rich, for bringing out all those statistics, and especially talking about how the laws have changed in Virginia and taken away that ability for police officers to make the stops, to do the follow-up, looking into their driving or distracted driving, or especially the driving under the influence. There's another big part of this, especially when it comes to the state police. They have not been able to recover the vacancies that keep occurring every year. I think the last number I heard, they were still 300 plus short of what they needed. And that also contributes to people's driving habits. When they never see a trooper or a police officer on a trip, they tend to drive a little faster, probably take some risks that they wouldn't normally take. So I appreciate you bringing all that out. That's very important information to get out in the public. Thank you.
You make a good point. I don't know if everyone caught this earlier I think it was last week, actually. Henrico County, down here in the Richmond metro area, announced that they were going to no longer respond to certain types of calls. Marijuana use calls, just low level crime calls, shoplifting, for instance. They just weren't going to respond to those because their staffing levels are too low. Kind of reminds me of back when, if anyone remembers, when Tim Kaine closed a lot of the rest areas because of the budget. It's sort of a way to apply pressure, but we'll see. But yeah, law enforcement, it's not just the state police. All the agencies are seeing a downturn in recruitment efforts. Folks just aren't as interested in being police officers as they used to be.
Okay, any more questions for Rich? Thank you for that useful, very informative information. And thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. You'll have a good week. What's left of it.
Item 6 on our agenda is the recommendation of the FY25 through FY30 Surface Transportation Block Grant and Carbon Reduction Program financial plans on pages 32 through 37 of your agenda package. Chair recognizes Allison Stinnett. Allison?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so today I will be talking about the public engagement summary for the SDG CRP public engagement comment period and the financial plan.
Thank you.
So to overview, we will first mention the TTC consensus on the FTBG and CRP project, then review the public engagement summary, and we will have the recommendation of the FY25 to 30 financial plan for the board. Okay. So the TTC consensus, these were the projects that the TTC is recommending for funding. So I will go in order. The green box is the projects that are not requesting smart scale leverage, and then the blue is projects that are requesting funding for smart scale leverage. So the first project is the Roanoke River Greenway through Explorer Park for Roanoke County, and the cost requesting is $500,000. And then the Greenway Connection Riverland Road for City of Roanoke, they are requesting $1,180,500. And Orange Market Park and Ride parking lot improvements for Roanoke County, $1,500,000. And Roanoke River Greenway, Apperson to Cook Connector, City of Salem, $1,615,259. And Vineyard Road pedestrian safety improvement projects PE phase for the town of Benton, requesting $356,000. So the three projects below are the projects requesting leverage for smart scale. So that is including Route 220 Super Street access management for Botetourt County, requesting $5 million. Peters Creek Road at Williams Road intersection improvements for Roanoke County, requesting between $2 million and $5 million. And Route 11-460 West Main Street at Dow Hollow Road intersection for Roanoke County, $2 million to $5 million. So this is the public engagement summary for the public comment period for the FTG and CRP program. And the engagement strategies that we utilize included publishing the ad and the survey on the RVARC website. We posted ads in the newspaper for Roanoke Times and the Roanoke Tribune. And we also sent an email through our stakeholders and decision makers through HubSpot. And Roanoke County Community Development newsletter included the survey information. And then we also ran social media advertisements, including Facebook and Instagram. I just want to mention that before we get into the data. So we had about 10,000 reach on social media. So 10,000 people could have possibly seen the survey. And we had roughly 350 people that wanted to take the survey, but only 150 actually completed the survey completely. So the data that I'll show is based on the 150 people that completed the survey from start to end. Okay, so we used MetroQuest for this survey. I know we've seen this at a previous meeting. So this is the front page. It has information about the survey, the time, when public hearing is, and sort of what the STBG and CRB programs are. Oh, no. Sorry. So this page was slide 2, and the question that we were asking participants were to select their top priorities for projects. And when you would select the marker, it would show up this little box. And you could also on this side have information talking about what is the project, and then there was an external link that you could click to see the site plans and the requests and the description of what they were asking for. So these are the results based on the first set of questions for the projects that were seeking new or additional funding, which included these projects that I mentioned earlier. And the one that had the most responses was the Greenway connection at Riverland Road, but they were very close. So this is the second page of questions, and these were for the conditional funding projects. So for the projects that were requesting leverage for smart scale. And same sort of functionality with these, but you see the markers are different. So these 4 projects. And this is the data for these 4 projects. And these 2 were very close as well. But the Peters Creek at Williamson Road intersection improvements had the most responses. And also to note that Roanoke County asked to remove the Route 419 electric road safety and streetscape improvement from Granite Road extension to Keavy Road for being considered through this process. So. And then we asked demographic questions. We changed our demographic questions a little bit this time to look more at like the census questions and have sort of more of a consistent shape that's going forward. So age predominant response is from 65 and older, but we had more participation in the younger age range this time. So this was gender distribution, and by far more male participated, and also this was the most skipped question, so that's sort of understandable. Okay, so this is ethnicity and race, predominantly white, but we still had some representation from others, but did not watch. And this is the zip code, by far, 24015 was the highest participation, following 24153 and 24018. And the annual household income distribution, the highest participation was from 100,000 to 149.9. So, are there any questions before we move on to the scoring matrix?
Any questions for Allison?
Then Tori will speak on the scoring matrix.
Thank you, Allison.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the policy board. What we're presenting to you today is actually in two parts. There's the, Allison mentioned the 5 projects that will be in the SDG financial plan. And then there are 3 projects that are been submitted for smart scale leverage. As you know, the smart scale program. Anyway, any opportunity we have to lower the project cost with other funding sources, including STBG and CRP, could enhance the competitiveness of those projects in the state smart scale process. So what we've done is we've put together a scoring matrix. It's on page, I'm sorry. Begins on page, looks like 33 in the packet. With some scoring criteria, the most important being the narrative that will explain how the project aligns with the smart scale scoring criteria, and then how leverage would enhance the project's overall competitiveness. The TTC considered the scoring matrix and recommended approval. And I think, again, what we're asking today is to approve a financial plan that's in 2 pieces. If you look on, after the resolution, there's a financial plan that VDOT was so kind to put together. You'll see that the 5 projects are mentioned in the proposed changes column. And then at the bottom, you'll see approximately $11.5 billion. This is in what's known as a balance entry. We would reserve those funds for smart scale leverage. We would then score the projects under the TTC scoring matrix. Each member of the TTC would score the project, and then we'll bring a recommendation back to this board. Prior to the submission deadline for smart scale, which is August 1st. And I think we're probably looking at June. I know some of those projects are still waiting some additional information for them to fill out the scoring matrix. So that's an overall look at the financial plan. I believe we have to have a public hearing, and then we'll bring the recommendation before you. Anybody have any questions in the meantime?
That,
All right.
that scoring matrix is something new that's been
It is.
derived from the TTC, is that correct?
That is correct.
Very good. Any questions for Tori? All right, then. This time, I will open the public hearing. Do we have anyone signed up to speak? Does anybody online wishes to speak? That being said, I will close the public hearing. This time, we have an action item, which is a roll call vote to accept the resolution on page 35 and 36 of your agenda, as well as the chart behind page 36, which is found on page 37. Do I have,
So moved, Mr. Chairman. I'll move the resolution.
Second.
all those in favor say aye?
We need to do a roll call.
Okay.
Aye.
Well, we'll do it because it's a financial decision. We'll go through a roll call vote for this. Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Fidzikowski,
Aye.
Chair North,
Aye.
Mr. Radford,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson.
Aye.
Mayor Turk,
Aye.
Mr. Holliday.
Aye.
Mr. Stovall,
Aye.
Mr. Stewart. Aye. Mr. Huber
Abstain.
and Mr. Ford.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 7, review of draft fiscal year 25 unified planning work program, pages 38 through 63. Tori Williams.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Chairman, members of the policy board. Those of you that have been with us for some time, you know that we have to annually approve a unified planning work program as a condition of receiving federal funding. This is simply a document describing all of the transportation planning and programming areas that the TPO will undertake in the upcoming fiscal year, that being FY 25. Some of the key or newer elements in the work program for FY 25 include the triennial update to the Transportation and Economic Development Study. Roanoke County has requested a regional truck parking study on corridors of statewide significance. Mentioned smart scale projects earlier. We have the TPO is carrying, I believe, 2 smart scale projects now that will need to be submitted. Some completions of earlier studies. We have a federal certification review scheduled for mid-April, and we'll need to implement their recommendations. The active transportation plan, and we'll continue doing various counts on cyclists and pedestrians at our counters throughout the region. There's a draft in your packet. It's a rather long document. We're not asking for approval today. We'll actually bring the document back with budgeted figures in April for your consideration. So this is more of an FYI. If you have an opportunity to review the draft, have any changes, please let us know. I'm glad to take any questions from the board.
So I understand the triennial update for the 10 study going on right now.
Will be in FY 25. Yes, sir.
I understand there's been some dynamic discussion in that regard for the majority projects. I hope they can come up with a good list of the top 10. I guess that's what they did. Okay. Any questions, Tori, on this program? Thank you, Tori.
Sir.
With that said, we want item 8 on the business, and any other business come for the TPO today? Has Ms. White been given her orientation yet?
We are gonna schedule that after this meeting.
Oh, great.
We're working on that.
Didn't want you to get out.
She had a lot of questions.
Sure. All right, no other business. Let's go on to item 9, comment period by the RVTPO policy board members annual public. Anyone have any comments, Mr. Radford?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to pass along for more of our counties, in our area, in my district specifically, we run into a safety issue with pedestrians walking on the road. You all might have heard in the news about 3 weeks ago, pedestrian was walking from the city past the parkway. She was in the travel lane and she got hit by a truck. I've had some residents leaving that accident, but beside itself, I've had some residents contact me last week about, we have a apartment complex, 2 of them are real close together on Garce Mill Road. And one of them is Section 8 housing, one of the complex, and there's a lot of families in there that don't have vehicle transportation. So they're walking from those apartments along Garce Mill, which is a VDOT road, and then going to the Kroger, and that's their mainstay. Last week, there was a new couple in that apartment complex. Mom and dad, young daughter with 2 strollers in the road, walking up to the grocery store. Had a resident videotape it, sent me and other supervisors from Roanoke County that video. And she's concerned for their safety. They're new to the community. So I asked some of our board members, I sent a request for us to look at doing sidewalks. A sidewalk from Garce Mill Park up to that intersection of Hamilton Avenue and Garce Mill Park. I'm just passing this information along, not that we need to take action. It says it's a comment period. I just want to let you know, as we gain more migrants immigrants in our communities. This is the sort of the stuff we see that's going on. I know the cities that are part of this have sidewalks, but the counties have VDOT roads, and VDOT doesn't like sidewalks. So that's an issue that we're trying to tackle. It's gonna be more and more as we get away from, or as we get more transportation alternatives like biking and walking. So I just wanted to pass that along, that's occurring, right around us in Roanoke County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Anthony, do you have any comment on sidewalks and VDOT?
No, I mean, just other than that, I know that sidewalks historically, since SmartScale started, that they've been included in a lot of those projects. They're a component of scoring, so we've seen a lot of those projects be a part of that. And I couldn't tell you what years ago, VDOT adopted the policy that a certain percentage of our funding, both in the maintenance side and construction side, has to go towards bike ped facilities. So I think we're supportive in general of those, obviously not in every location, but I'm going to make a note here as far as this one. Have you contacted anyone at the residency or anybody about this particular?
Just Megan Cronice. I think she's been copied on the
I'll
email.
follow up.
Yeah, she knows about it.
But she's off the rest of the day. I don't know about the rest of the week.
I'll just make another pedestrian related comment. We've got a crosswalk out there on Aviation Drive at the airport that runs from the economy and the employee parking lot over the terminal. It's getting busier all the time, and you don't think about some of this stuff, but maybe we need to kind of have our planners think about how decisions are being made. Part of the Peters Creek Williamson Road improvements includes an improvement Peters Creek and Airport Road. Traffic's there, no doubt that it's needed, but a lot of it is needed because other changes around us have turned aviation into a super highway cut through, taking aviation up to municipal and municipal over to airport. We really need to take an overall look at how do we manage some of that traffic, because we're going to end up with another fatality out there if we're not careful. We've got a lot of close calls. Just as a comment.
Thank you. You're speaking up, it reminds me. So I'm gonna fly out of here one day. Where do I park now?
Get there early.
Get there early. 5:30, so at least I get there.
So we do have,
take it.
we do have about half the parking lot closed for renovation right now. There is ample spots in the economy lot across the street. We've dropped that price down to $8. Middle of May, we'll open back up the side that's under construction now and close the next phase. Right now it is tough, but there are normally spaces in both the short-term and long-term parking right now.
So if I'm standing at the terminal, I'm looking at parking lots. It's the one on the right that's closing.
Yeah. The one that everybody likes.
Renovations.
Yeah.
The whole lot.
Most of that lot hadn't been touched in 30+ years. So
Right.
A lot of infrastructure, storm drains. So
So
it's
is
a
your
fun
shuttle-
project.
Is your shuttle gonna be running through the,
We actually don't have a shuttle right now, but we're looking
What?
at implementing one.
no shuttle?
I'm waiting on somebody. to
My
sponsor
feet,
one.
my feet take you out there 5:30 in the morning, it's looking a whole lot better.
What you're talking about any college. By the way, and also your presence today raises another question. Senator Kane's been in town this week. Have you seen him?
I haven't seen him, but I talked to Senator Warner yesterday.
Okay. Has Senator Kane's chief of staff reached out to you?
Not recently.
He's gonna be here for tomorrow morning.
He'll be here tomorrow morning.
Yes, Eric had reached out this morning and said he had a meeting with him, so.
Okay, Mr. Chair, Ms. Huber has raised his hand on Zoom.
Okay, I'll get them in just a second.
When he gets through picking on the airport.
Number 4, airport investment. You want me to pass this on to Lauren too?
Please,
Okay. He has any questions, call you.
absolutely.
Good. That's what I wanted to do. Thank you. Appreciate you being here today. Thank you for your questions. Mr. Huber, do you have a question?
More of a comment and a brief update. Our big April update will be sent out to the MPO in April, but I'll pull some highlights here in advance just for this committee. The DRPT Connecting Commuter campaign will continue throughout March, and that's focusing more on businesses and commuters and kind of highlighting our Connecting VA app. And just a reminder is our 5303 applications are due May 1st, and you guys are well underway in your UPWP development. So excited to see the draft and provide some comment before then. And then as well as, since in the spirit of pedestrians and traffic safety has really been the kind of the highlight of this meeting, I am helping to begin develop our scope of work to help update our design guidelines, and we'll be looking for involvement from localities to kind of build up a specifically how can localities be better, more intentional when developing their, how they're going to design their streets and focus on safety, as well as prioritizing speed and efficiency. So that's on the horizon as well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all your help from the DRPT on the Valley-Alleghany shuttle, which has a new stop now in Salem, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's stopping at Longwood Park. It's one spot. The other spot is on the intersection of Broad Street and Burwell. There's a parking lot there that's a municipal parking lot. So it's just one block off of Main Street. So yeah, got two stops.
And I might add that the ridership in March so far, and there's 3 days left, has just shattered all
Records.
from March last year. And year over year, it's really growing. So I can only expect it's going to grow more. And the addition of this stop will help with the parking up at the top of the back of the parking lot area there. We had an ask today for funding, which exceeded the $2 million earmark for the congressional earmarks, if you will. And that's when we learned that between 1 and 2 is usually what they're looking for in terms of feasibility of getting funding. And so I asked the gentleman, I said, well, if this is a national park facility, how come someone doesn't put money in the national park facilities budget? And I said, but we need to find out who that director is and, communicate with him about, hey, we got this need down here. You put some money into it, let it flow through Congress that way. And they thought that was a good idea, but no one thought about doing that. So there's a front door and a back door way to try to get money on some of these projects. You just gotta press the right button. All right, anybody else have any comments?
Chair, I'll just make a quick
Yes,
statement.
sir.
In the vein of smart scale, you and your staff may already be aware, but the deadline for pre-applications is close of business Monday, April 1st. And we're expecting anywhere between 40 to 50 applications in our district this year, which is pretty much on par. What's interesting, I found interesting, is about half of those are brand new submittals. So I thought that was interesting this year. So again, close of business Monday on April 1st. So please, if you intend to submit a final application, make sure you get a pre-application in by Monday.
And close of business is 5 o'clock. Is that your definition of it? Okay. So let me ask you something. How many of those, say 50 applications, if you will, are incomplete at this time? Do you know?
A good chunk of them. Yeah, a lot of them are still in pending status right now, which is not unusual. A lot of
Right,
people,
right.
yeah.
They got till what, August? August final?
Oh, you mean as far as the actual full details of the application? It'll be August 1st, yeah.
August 1st. So if you got one in and it's not complete, you got till August 1st.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what the concern was in Richmond many times, was the clogged pipeline of incomplete projects. So
All the directions not clear enough.
no,
What's
they're
the
not clear enough.
issue?
Yeah, people don't always read them, and they don't always have the numbers. That's the key, the estimate numbers
Okay.
to put in there. That's what holds it up,
Yeah.
is the estimates. Thank you for that reminder too. And that's no April Fool's joke.
No.
You think it is, you'll miss the deadline. All right. Going once, going twice. Motion to adjourn.
We'll move.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. And by the way, next month, Dr. Ray Smoot is supposed to be here for the Commonwealth Transportation Board. So we should have a entertaining presentation, but he'll also be open for questions. And that'll be a good timing, especially with smart scale process starting. We got till August.
You don't do that to me.